What is TJ's problem now?
You are legally the baby's mother until you relinquish your parental rights. You're about to give birth. You were going to have to sign these papers at that time to give TJ and me the baby. Just sign them now. Only had to say that you are acting as the surrogate for your sister and left it at that.
Sorry, anything I said was taken the wrong way.
Sign the damn papers.
No.
I don't believe Christina did anything wrong in the interview. Molly was out of line for confronting her like that. I'm sorry, but why isn't anyone as outraged as I am about Christina's behavior towards Molly and TJ? Millions of women deal with infertility, and the writers could have created a touching storyline, but instead, they've turned it into a frightening situation. It's disgraceful. Molly and TJ have been unreasonable from the start. They need to calm down and stop overreacting to everything. Christina was trying to respect their privacy, and they're going off the rails. I understand Molly's perspective. The paperwork should have been completed at the start, and I don't get why it wasn't. As the birth approaches, it's understandable that Molly is anxious, knowing Christina could change her mind at any moment, and Christina is giving signs that she might. I'm glad Rick is coming back. Hopefully, he can help Molly and TJ with their situation. Molly should have anticipated this. Christina was a poor choice for a surrogate. They're sisters. Why would Christina do this to Molly? She needs to sign the papers and give her the baby. Molly may have gone a bit overboard, but Christina seems to be looking for any excuse to not give them the baby. It's awful to do that to someone you promised to carry a child for. Christina, you offered to do this. You shouldn't back out now. #Team T and M. TJ and Molly have been unbearably dramatic throughout this entire pregnancy. They aren't mature or stable enough to handle parenthood. Commenters who think Christina should keep the baby should remember that TJ has parental rights. This could turn into an interesting custody battle. At this point, I can't stand Molly and TJ. They need to mature. Maybe Christina should keep the baby, and they should just move on. Molly overreacted. I don't think Christina wants to back out, but she might if things keep going like this. Molly is incredibly immature and shouldn't be having a child. She just complains and isn't supportive. Christina should keep the baby. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Molly only made things worse. I'm frustrated with how they're portraying this situation. They're taking a beautiful gesture between sisters and casting it in a negative light, especially if Christina ends up keeping the baby. Christina didn't make her intentions clear. She stood up to Molly and wanted her to reveal the real reason behind trying to push the parental rights paperwork. Christina told Alexis she wanted to wait as long as possible in case something happened to Molly. It seems Christina refused because Molly was trying to handle the situation deceitfully. Christina was merely trying to protect Molly's privacy, so it looks like there will be issues no matter what she does. I'm done with the constant complaints from TJ and Molly. Molly isn't suited to be a mother. She's been tearing Christina down, mocking Blaze being outed by Ava, and throwing a tantrum when Christina wouldn't sign the papers. At the very least, Christina is entitled to her own legal counsel to review any documents before signing. Molly was hoping to pressure Christina into making a decision that wasn't in her or the baby's best interests. I'm glad to see Christina stand her ground against Molly and TJ's controlling behavior. The acting by these two actresses was impressive. I anticipated this situation, and it will be intriguing to see if Christina decides to keep the baby. A legal battle seems inevitable after today's episode. I love the Erica Kane reference. It was my favorite part of the episode. I'm a fan of Sunny/Morris and Steve. I saw his show with Bradford, but it's refreshing to see S and J and Carly face temporary consequences for their criminal actions. It's amusing that Sunny thinks he can dictate Carly's arrest. She's under arrest after all. Go Molly. Molly and TJ have been together for what feels like 20 years, and Christina an ally for 20 seconds. Who is Christina to think they'll break up? It seems like just an excuse to keep the baby. Alexis was right. Molly and TJ don't deserve the baby after how poorly they've treated Christina throughout this process. She should have signed the papers when she agreed to this or when she became pregnant. She has been carrying and bonding with the baby. They aren't even involved in Christina's life while she's pregnant, which doesn't make sense to me. If they were more involved, they might understand what's happening. All Christina did was try to protect her sister. I'm actually siding with Christina at this point. Did Molly really expect Christina to publicly announce on TV that she's her sister's surrogate? What if they didn't want the public to know about the baby's conception? Molly was way out of line. Christina probably should have kept her thoughts about the potential breakup to herself. Molly and TJ have been trying to control Christina since the start of the pregnancy. Do other couples micromanage their surrogates? If they'd have been kind and appreciative of Christina's sacrifice of her body for 9 months so their sister could have a child, this situation might have been different. Both TJ and Molly have been written poorly. I really hoped it wouldn't end up like this. I'm still holding out hope for a positive surrogate story. It's no surprise Christina might want to keep the baby. It seems like it's been her plan all along. For her to criticize Molly and TJ's relationship is frustrating. As Molly said, Christina has no right to comment. Whenever Molly and TJ argue, it's often about Christina, and with good reason, considering Christina has hinted from the start about wanting to keep the baby. Good luck with that impending court battle. We all saw this storyline coming. Once Christina gives birth, she'll likely refuse to sign the papers and might run away with the baby, which she legally has a claim to. It's disappointing that Molly and TJ are being portrayed as paranoid and irrational. They're supposed to be intelligent adults, but they're not acting like it. I wasn't impressed with today's episode. If I were Christina, I wouldn't give them the baby either. Christina is acting irrationally, making excuses to keep her sister's baby. I knew this was a bad idea from the beginning. Christina should sign the papers because she agreed to have a baby for her sister, not for herself. Even though Molly is incredibly annoying, this storyline is both horrible and sad. Christina's behavior is completely unacceptable. Perhaps it's better not to have a sister who doesn't have kids act as a surrogate. Molly and TJ are immature and irritating, constantly whining and being paranoid. In this situation, Molly does have a point, though. Now the public thinks the baby belongs to Molly and Blaze. Christina was always likely to keep the baby, and Molly should have known that. Whether or not Molly overreacted, Christina was clearly attached. Trying to paint Christina as the villain is unreasonable. Molly and TJ jumped to conclusions and misunderstood Christina's comments. The interview wasn't even about her pregnancy. Molly confronted her aggressively. Christina might have agreed to sign the papers after the baby was born if she had seen Molly's joy and gratitude. On a side note, the paperwork should have been completed after confirming the pregnancy. I can't stand Molly when she's with TJ. They just feed off each other's anger. As a doctor, TJ should know better. Both of them are incredibly selfish and prone to imploding. Surrogacy can be a beautiful process, but it can also end in a messy situation. They're all acting immaturely. If Christina's intentions are as she claims, she would sign the papers without issue. The phrase relinquishing them forever is key. Christina won't be the mother. She may have a bond, but she's carrying someone else's child. Christina shouldn't be so mean. Christina is right in this situation. Molly is overreacting, and now I hope Christina keeps the baby. Molly seems to view her sister as merely an incubator. Christina was trying to protect Molly and TJ from the Blaze scandal, which was the right thing to do. They have nothing to do with Christina and Blaze's relationship. I just watched the scene where Molly really let loose on Christina, and it was brutal. It was very unkind, especially since Molly is always concerned about stress affecting the baby. She exploded on Christina like a volcano. This fall, Alexis will have a lot to handle, with all three of her daughters fighting in court. Christina and Molly will be battling for custody of the unborn baby, while Sam will face losing custody of Danny and Scout when she goes to jail. Christina is being unreasonable about Molly and TJ breaking up, and Molly is being unreasonable about Christina not sharing her personal business on TV. They're both acting ridiculous. I feel Christina will likely give up her parental rights to her sister for several reasons. She loves Molly and offered to carry the baby to keep it within the family. She's not ready for motherhood, and her relationship with Allison is too new to add a baby into the mix. She's worried that Molly and TJ might split, and the baby could end up being raised by TJ, though I think she's overthinking it. #interesting storyline #GH. This is the risk you take when you have someone carry your child for 9 months, as they can become attached. TJ had advised against using Christina, and Alexis didn't think it was a good idea either. I expected this outcome. They should have signed the papers at the beginning. Now, with only 2 months to go, it's unlikely the court can overturn it, especially since Christina is the biological mother. What a mess. Molly is really going overboard right now. She and TJ feed off each other's frustration and take it out on Christina. I hope Christina and Blaze end up keeping the baby. Molly is pushing too hard. TJ, being a doctor, should know that stress isn't good for either the mother or the baby. Maybe they want Christina to lose the baby. I'd sign the papers and tell Molly to get lost. While I understand why Christina didn't reveal the surrogacy arrangement, she probably feared their reaction. She should still sign the paperwork to ease Molly's mind. This isn't Christina's baby. She agreed to be the vessel for carrying it. TJ and Molly aren't bad people, even though Christina is painting them that way. Christina needs to honor the original agreement. This should be a joyful time, but all this conflict is adding unnecessary stress. In my opinion, Christina did nothing wrong in the interview. She was simply keeping her pregnancy private, which is her right. Molly and TJ are overreacting, and Molly had no business going off on Christina like that. Christina has shown significant personal growth and is no longer the immature, naive girl she once was. She knows what she's doing, and honestly, I hope she keeps the baby because TJ and Molly don't seem ready to be parents. Initially, I thought Christina was just a spoiled brat, but TJ has been incredibly annoying, and Molly is overly whiny. I'm tired of this storyline. Molly is completely off her rocker. Molly and TJ are being completely unreasonable about this. They've treated Christina like the enemy throughout the entire pregnancy, and now Molly is confronting her like this. Molly and TJ should understand that Christina naturally feels a connection to the baby, but she still intends to give it to them to raise. Instead, they've pushed her into a defensive position. Christina has handled this situation with a lot of maturity and genuinely wanted to help her sister. Molly said some really hurtful things to Christina about past relationships and jobs, which was heartbreaking. Meanwhile, Molly and TJ can't even commit to a relationship together. The next storyline will likely involve the baby refusing bottle feeding, forcing Christina to nurse and form a closer bond with the baby, which will only further distance Molly and TJ. Isn't it ridiculous that this is the first time they've had a real conversation in ages? They should be more involved in each other's lives, with Molly feeling the baby kick, not Blaze. This storyline is the worst so far. Why have Christina carry the baby and grow so close to it, while not maintaining regular contact with her sister? It's frustrating. Time to move on, please. The only one who should be worried here is the baby. Being raised by any of these characters would be a disaster. And the Davis women seem to be the poster children for dysfunction. Did Molly really expect Christina to sign the papers after she berated her? For someone who's an attorney, Molly doesn't seem very smart. Christina explained that she was trying to protect Molly's privacy and not drag her fertility issues into the public eye. Molly should appreciate that Christina was thinking about her, not herself. Now Molly's being selfish and downright mean to her sister. Maybe she should support Christina instead of trying to control her. Molly and TJ are way out of line, and Christina's comment about whether they're still together was low. But Molly and TJ started this whole mess. I don't care who ends up keeping the baby. Molly may be overreacting, but trying to keep a baby you were supposed to be a surrogate for is pure craziness. It's shocking to see people saying Christina should keep the baby. It's not just a piece of clothing, it's a child. You can't change your mind midway through and decide to keep it. This is an awful but predictable storyline. Christina needs to stick to her commitment and fulfill the agreement she made before becoming pregnant. This is just insane. The direction the writers are taking with this storyline is incredibly disappointing. It's such a shame to see something that could have been beautiful and special turn into this mess. While many of us anticipated complications, it didn't need to unfold this way. There's been a lot of buzz about Erica Kane recently. I hope the show is considering bringing Susan Lucci and Walt Willey back. That would be an exciting development. Imagine if Natalia, who's in witness protection, encounters Erica, and they have a moment where Erica says, "Dr. Maria Gray, what on earth are you doing here and alive?" Then Blaze discovers her father is Edmund Gray. It could add a great layer of mystery and intrigue. If Molly and TJ were married, it might have been different, but Molly didn't want to marry. She just wanted a simple agreement. It's clear she's not the most reliable when it comes to commitment. Christina would make a better parent than Molly and TJ combined. They are a hot mess, and they seem to deserve each other. I don't blame Christina for hesitating to sign the papers. Let them figure it out. Molly and TJ are overreacting to Christina's comments, and while the private nature of this matter is valid, the contract's wording should have been clearer. This was always going to be a contentious issue, and the harsh words exchanged are regrettable. Combining two intense storylines involving Christina wasn't the best move. She finally found someone special, and now this drama overshadows that. It's frustrating. Christina agreed to help Molly and TJ have a child because Molly couldn't get pregnant, and it shouldn't matter if they end up breaking up. The only mistake here was not having Christina sign an agreement from the start, making it clear that the baby would be Molly and TJ's. Christina's stance on this situation is out of touch. The baby is TJ's, and in any custody battle, he would have the upper hand. Christina's belief that she and Blaze would be better parents is laughable, especially since they've only been together for a short time and Blaze has already expressed disinterest in raising a child at this point. Christina needs to get a grip and face reality. I can't believe how many people are defending Molly. It seems like some just want any excuse to dislike Christina. It's clear that Molly and TJ are in the wrong here, and I wouldn't want any child raised by them. Christina has actually grown a lot since her younger rebellious days, but it seems like some people are stuck viewing her through that old lens. Sure, Christina made a commitment, but Molly should have listened to Alexis and had a contract drawn up from the start. Instead, Molly dismissed her mother's concerns, thinking she knew better. It's no wonder Christina might feel the need to keep the baby away from her sister now. Let's not forget, Christina has every right to keep the baby if she chooses. Biologically, it's her egg, and legally, unless she signs those papers, the baby is hers and TJ's. Molly needs to calm down and approach this situation with more understanding. TJ has legal rights to the child, but Molly doesn't. Legally, if the papers weren't signed before, Christina is under no obligation to do what Molly wants. Molly should address her sister more respectfully and try to resolve this situation like an adult. Molly's reaction might seem excessive, but Christina's comments about wanting to raise the baby with Blaze have raised serious concerns. It's clear Christina isn't ready to give up the baby, and her doubts about Molly and TJ's relationship only add to the conflict. Molly and TJ shouldn't have to prove their relationship to Christina to get her to sign the papers. That's just an excuse to keep the baby. Even if the timing was off, Christina could still make Molly feel secure by signing the papers. It's frustrating that Christina's motives seem unclear to many, but Molly's overreaction doesn't justify her actions. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.